Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. This is going to be our video 31, inshallah. And this one, I am going to go ahead and explain a little bit. We're going to be still doing verbs, but these verbs are a little bit different. Okay, so what do I mean? I will go ahead and there's three categories in this. So I will divide them like this. And then we can talk about each category, what's happening here. So the first one we have is this one is called, they still fall under فعل ثلاثي مجرد. مجرد. What does that mean? I don't know if you guys remember. We talked about فعل meaning the verb, ثلاثي means the three, mujarrad meaning that it has only three root letters, nothing else is added to it, because later on there are other verbs that are coming that will have other letters, actually I should say letters that are added to the verb, and then sometimes that will change the meaning. So but here right now that we're focusing on just those three root letters, so nothing else is added to that, so that's why we have it here. And then we want to continue with that, but now we're talking about three different types that still has the three verb root letter. So the first one we have is called mudaf. Mudaf. And then I'm gonna write this, and then we'll come back and give an example of each one and what it means. And then we have mithal, and then we have ajwaf. Ajwaf. Okay. First, I'll give you the meanings for each one, what it means. So this is the first. Sorry, not the first. A mudaf is something that's extra, so the meaning is it's extra, but then it means the last letter. The last letter of the verb is, it's the same, meaning it's repeated, and we will give example for that. The next one we have is mithal, which means the first or the first of the letter, it's either waw or ya. The first letter of the verb, it starts either with waw or it starts with a ya. Okay. And then ajwaf is the middle, the second letter. The second letter is either waw or ya. Waw or ya. Okay. Now let's give an example for each so it becomes more clear, inshallah. Okay, so for the first one we have mudaf. I mean, you don't really need to know like what is mudaf and what is mithal and what is ajwaf, but it's good to know if you're interested to learn, these things, and then you can categorize it for your own benefit, inshallah. But then if you come across words or verbs like that in the Quran, then you can also tell yourself, okay, oh yeah, this falls in this pattern, this falls in this family. This one has two letters at the end, so that has to be a mudaf verb. Or these verbs have the first letter starts with a waw and yeah, and then it's good to know I mean, it's not something that you must know, but it's always good to understand so you can understand which category they fall under these verbs. So the first one would be a mudaf, and what are the verbs that has to fall in here? So the last letter on this category, it's the same. So it means it's repeated, the last letter. Remember, we talked about 3 root letters. So the last letter on this one, it's repeated. So whatever that letter is, it's repeated. So what I mean is like the word radda. So it actually is radada, but it's not written like that. So how it's written is, and then they put a dal with the shadda and the kasra, the fath on it. So now this becomes radda, but you have to pronounce both of it because there's 2 dals in here. So if you don't pronounce it, then you miss one of the dals in here. So in here, basically they give one of the dals a sukun, and then they put a shadda on it. And then as a reader, the one who reads the Quran, then when you come across letters or words like this that have the shadda on it, so automatically you know in your head that okay, there's 2 of that letter is in that word or in that verb. So you have to give the space as you're reciting, as you're reading. Like in this case, it would be radda. See, you have to give the dal and then another dal. Okay, so these are verbs that fall in this category. So this falls under mudaf, meaning that the last letter is the same. So it's doubled, but it's still 3 root letters, not added an extra. It's the same thing. So another example would be like sadda, sadda, or wanna. This is the one that we read a lot in the Quran. Wanna, wanna. Notice the last letters on all of them, it's repeated, has a shadda, shadda, shadda on top of it. So there's 2 noons, 2 dals, and then 2 dals here. This is also a dal. Sorry, I wrote it like a raw, but it's a dal. Sadda, radda, dhanna, darra, dalla, all of them fall in this category. So I will go ahead and give you example for this and example for this, but then we're going to go back and focus more on each one separately because we can't do it all at the same time. It becomes very confusing. So I just want to give you the example of what is going on. So on the second one here, mithal, the first letter of the verb, it starts either with wow or ya. And there's a lot of them that starts with wow. There's not a lot that starts with ya that's in the Quran, but there are verbs, but it's not very common. Okay, so but the verbs that we are very very familiar with that starts with the wow, like for example, we have here the word wahaba. Wahaba. See, the first letter in the verb is a wow, or sometimes it starts with a ya. Like yada or ya isa, so that would be the ya letters, the verbs that starts with ya. But we're not going to focus too much on the ya because there's not a lot of it in the Quran, but there's a lot that starts with wow. So like wahaba or wajada, the wajada, wahaba, and then wazara. So all of these starts with a wow. Now ajwaf is the verb, the middle letter in the verb, the 3-letter root verb, the middle letter, it's either a wow or a ya. So in this case, we have I'm trying to see. Okay, sometimes on this one, you're not going to know right away. that the middle letter is either a wow or a yeah, because how they appear as we read it, it comes as an alif. I know that's very, very confusing. I'm sorry. But for example, but how are you going to figure it out if it's a wow or a yeah in the mudari form? Like if I give you a past tense verb, you're not going to really know uh, that middle letter if it's a wow or yeah. But when you come to mudari form, then that wow or ya becomes present. You'll see it in the verb. Then you know that, oh, okay, the middle letter, it's either wow or ya. For example, we have the word qala. It falls in this category. So we have three root letter here, qaf, alif, and lam. So you're like, well, where's the wow? I don't know. The middle letter is supposed to be a wow, but here it's an alif. But like I said, when you go to the melodic form of it, then it appears. You see it. So now it becomes, this is madi qala. It becomes yaqu yaqulu. See, there's the word. There's the wow. And again, this comes with a lot of practice, inshallah. So as you're reading the Maldi version, always is good to do the Mudari version as well, at least for the first two, Maldi Mudari, of the verbs, because this will help you understand, inshallah. And then from there, you can go on and into other forms like Amr and Fa'il and Fa'il and stuff like that. But at least in this, you have to figure it out. Okay? So this is one of the words here. Qala yaqulu. What's another one? We have taba. Again, this falls here under this category. The middle is alif. So you don't know if this is a wow or this is a ya. But if you're familiar with reading it, taba yatubu, right? Tauba. So then you can automatically, it's like, oh, okay, this is a wow in there, because I know. But if you're coming just new and you have no idea, then we need a lot of practice, inshallah, to be able to, learn this. And then this is exactly like I said, when we're doing this book, if you guys ordered this book, it helps a lot with just practicing these things. Then it becomes, easy for you guys, inshallah. So like this one, we had qala yaqulu. Now we have taba yatubu. Yeah, to yatubu. So now we know that there's a wow. There's a wow. The middle letter is wow. The middle letter is wow. So this is ajwaf. This falls under ajwaf. And like that, there's a lot of it in the Quran that it's like that. But this is just example for each category so we can understand. And then inshallah, I will work on each one separately and give more examples from the Quran, all the verbs that are appearing in the Quran. And then I'll give you the root letters as well. So for your studying purposes, it's easy. So you don't have to go and look at, the dictionaries and stuff if you don't want to. Then you can just look at that and then write them down as far as the roots are concerned. All right, so I will go ahead and erase everything here, and then inshallah, we'll continue with muda'af verbs. All right. So let's start with the with our verbs here. So let's first of all write the pattern, like the wazn of how these verbs are gonna fall on under the muda'af, meaning the last two letters are the same. So we're gonna have falla, falla, yafallu, yafillu. Sometimes they have it in both ways. Yafillu. Yafillu. Okay, and then we're still doing on the same. Remember, we did madi, mudari, and then command would be iflil. Iflil, or it becomes uflul. Two different ways. Uflul. You're probably wondering, well, how am I going to know? But don't worry about it. You know, it's this will come, inshallah. It's just good to know, but as we go forward and practice, it'll come, inshallah, to us. We can understand it, and of course, as a last resort, if you don't understand it at all, you can't figure it out, you can always refer back to our, our books of verbs and the dictionary, inshallah. And then we have fala, fala, and then falla. Okay, so let's separate this. And then and this right here. Okay. So again, we have ماضي, مضارع, amr, fa'il, and then فعل. Okay, so let's work on these words. So the first we have is hayya. Hayya. Notice we have ya at the last letter, and there's two of them. So the root would be ha, ya, and ya. But we're not writing it like that, and it's written together with a shadda on it, and then that specifies that there's two of them. So now we conjugate this. So how do we do this? Hayya, and then we follow the same pattern. Yafallu, right? So this becomes hayya, yahayyu, right? So I just want. Okay, apologize. I apologize. This one is the one a little bit different. Okay, so hayya, and this becomes, I know, yah, yah, yeah, yahya, ihya. So see, if lil, ihya. Some of these words that has the yeah and the end at the end, uh, they go through some weird changes. So not to worry too much. Just kind of, if we just kind of remember memorize it in this pattern, hopefully it'll stick, and then we don't have to worry about it. And then so on the fa'il, so this becomes hay, hay, and then haya. Okay. This means to live, to be alive, to also means to be modest, to have to be bashful, to have haya, meaning to be bashful, to be modest. And then hayy means to something that is alive, like a snake is called that. It was in the story of Musa alayhi salam. So this means to, let's see, where do I write it? To be alive, bashful, bashful. So those are the meanings, but you can always refer to dictionary. Inshallah gives you a whole bunch of meanings as well. All right, this one was not a really great example to start with, but since this is in the Quran repeated so many times, so it's good to have it, inshallah. Hayya, Yahya, Ihya, Hayy, Hayya. Okay. The next word is we have radda. I think we just talked about this, but radda. So this is ra, dal, and dal. Those are the root. Radda, you ya ruddu, ya ruddu. Ya ruddu. And then it becomes urdud. Urdud. Sorry, urdud. It falls on this uflul, urdud. And then radda. Falla, radda. Same pattern here. And then it becomes radda. Falla, radda. And notice it goes back to the same fi'l, the same thing. So this means to give back, to return. To give back, to return. Okay. All right, so the next verb we have is, trying to use different colors, so let's see if this makes it more fun. Okay, we have a sadda. Sadda, so we have sad, dal, and dal. Sadda. And then this is yasuddu. Yeah. Sud. Yasuddu. Usdud. Usdud. And then sadda. And then it goes back to sadda. This means to what? To prevent, to hinder, to prevent, hinder, or to get in somebody's way. You know, all those meanings go here. All right, next one we have is barra. So we have bod and then ra. Barra. Yadurru. Yadurru. Udurur. Udurur. And then we have barra. And that is dar. Okay. This means to harm, to hurt. To harm, to hurt. Okay. I will go ahead and erase the board, inshallah, come back, but let's quickly go over them again. Hayya, ha, da, sorry, ha, ya, and ya are the root letters. And then yahya, ihya, and then hay, and then haya. This is with, at the ends with the ta marbuta, but when we usually read it, you don't, if you're stopping on it, you don't really read the ta marbuta, so you just say haya. And then, like I said, it means to be alive, to be bashful, you know, shy. It means all of that. And then the next word is, or the verb is radda, ra, dal, and dal, yaruddu. This is fail, and then this is madi and mudari, meaning so past tense, present tense, and command. The action, fa'il is the one who's doing the action, and then fa'il is the one, is the actual verb. All right, so, and then urdud, and then radda, and then radda. It means to give back, to return. And then swadda, swad, dal, and dal are the roots. Yasuddu, always keep notice that when it ends, it's still ending with the shadda. So that's still telling us that there's two of those letters back to back in that verb. And then usdud. And then here it breaks apart. You see the two dals, they break apart. Here the two dals are breaking apart. And the two raws are breaking apart. So you'll see them here, but there it's written together. And here again, it gets back the same way. It's like we put a shadda on it and it becomes together again. In the fa'il, in the command, it breaks apart. You see them separately because the last letter takes a sukun, 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 and so it's also sukun. So therefore, they have to break apart because the last letter is taking a sukun. Otherwise, this is not going to work. If you have a shadda on it, then it won't be fa'il amr. Okay, and then sadda, and then sadda is to prevent, to hinder. And then we have darra. We have dad, ra, and ra. Darra, yadurru, udrur, darra, and then dar means to harm, to hurt someone. All right, I will erase this and we will come back, inshallah. Next verb we have is ضل. So we have ضاد and lam, ضل. And then we have يضل, يضل, اضلل, اضلل, اضلل. And then ضال, ضال, and then we have ضلالة. ضلالة. Yeah, so it's ta marbuta, but like I said, we don't pronounce that. Okay, what does this mean to go astray, to make an error, to, also means to waste. Go astray, waste. Wrong, to go the wrong way, and so all of that is here. And then we have the next verb I have is ظن. ظن, so this is noon and noon. ظن يظن, sorry. يظن أذن. Sorry. I gotta break this apart. There's two noons coming out. Uz, nun. Uz, nun. Yeah, because this is amr. And then it's awanna. And then awan. Okay, what does this mean? To think, to believe, to suspect. to think, suspect. Those are all. There's more, but we're just using those for now. The next one we have is adda. Adda. So this is ayn, dal, and dal. Adda, yu'addu. Sorry, no. Ya'uddu. And it's okay to make mistakes, like I'm making mistakes, sometimes, but this is how we learn, inshallah. So if you have your information in front of you, you can always correct yourself. Sometimes, because you read it so many times in the Quran, sometimes you can figure it out right away, the mudari, and you can, like, daraba al-amthal, or what, then daraba, you're like, oh yeah, daraba yadribu, I know that mudari. But sometimes on verbs like this, you may know it or may not know it, like myself sometimes, like here, um like the middle letter, is it ya'adu or is it ya'uddu? So you have to kind of go back and check, make sure that we have it correct. Adda ya'uddu, and then it becomes dud, or dud. Then the dads are breaking apart, or dud, and then becomes ada, and then becomes adda again. Okay. To count, meaning to count. Okay. Let's see. We have the next one. We have gharra. Gharra. So this is line, ra, and ra. Gharra yaghirru. Yaghirru. And then becomes ighrir. Ighrir. And then gharra. And then ghurur. Ghurur. Okay, so this means to deceive, to enchant, to deceive, enchant. Sorry if you can't really read all of this I'm writing here. It's kind of far away. Those are the meanings: to beguile, to bewitch. All of that's here. So ghurur is someone who is so boastful. They have ghurur. Okay, next one. Let me see how many words we have left. We have 1, 2, 3 left. So I'm going to erase this and come back, inshallah, and then we'll give the last 3, and then this would be it for this video, inshallah. All right. Next verb is madda. So this is mim, dal, dal, madda. And then yamuddu. Yamuddu. Madda yamuddu. And then it becomes umdud. Umdud. And then it becomes madda. And then becomes madda again. Okay. This means to spread out, to stretch. Spread out, stretch. To stretch. Okay. Madda, yamuddu, umdud, madda, madda. And then the next one we have massa. So this is meme, seen, and seen. Massa, yamassu. 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 Imsas. Imsas. And then we have masa. And then massa again. All right. This means to touch. To touch. Okay, and then the last one we have is, let's see which one we haven't used. We'll use this one. We have, it's wadda. So we have waw, dal, and dal, wadda. Yuwaddu. No, not yuwaddu. Yawaddu. Wadda, yawaddu, iwdad, iwdad. Sukun, iwdad, iwdad, and then wadda, and then wudda. Okay, let's give the meaning. It means to love, to wish. Okay. All right, I know this was a little bit challenging, trying to figure out different ways in the mudari, how it's changing. And then sometimes it's like the hamza and the fi'l and the command version, it sometimes it's on the top, it takes a dhamma, sometimes it's the bottom, it takes a kasra, and these are a little bit difficult. This part is pretty much as easy. Of course, the beginning is easy, and then the mudari, it's pretty much easy. But then sometimes you have the dhamma you have to pay attention to, and then yamassu, yawaddu. Say these are on the same pattern, but then this one is a different pattern. This is yamuddu because this takes a dhamma. So not to worry too much, inshallah. If you just kind of practice, since these are the verbs that are in the Quran, and this is it under the mudha'af that we have. So it's only logical that if you just kind of memorize the patterns, how they changes, then inshallah everything else will become easier. So you don't have to worry about all the verbs. You're just focusing on just a few of the verbs that are in the Quran. It's repeated the most. So our whole focus is on that. So if we can figure all of this out, know these, the rest then inshallah becomes a lot easier. All right, we will go ahead and stop here. I know because it was a little bit challenging, some things changes and whatnot. So inshallah, the best thing to do is always after if you're watching the videos, to when you're done with the video, go back over your notes just to kind of review everything. Make sure if you're writing notes, make sure that go back and check your notes that you have written everything correctly, because I know I used to make a lot of mistakes when I was listening to my teachers or video copying, listening online, and I would write things really quickly, and then I would have to go back and I'm like, oh God, this is wrong, this is wrong. So you have to go back to listen to the video and then correct all of your notes, inshallah. So do all of that, and then hopefully we will, inshallah, slowly get there by the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, we will stop here until the next video. Assalamu alaikum.